In June of 2013, just 8 months after he spoke at the World Food Prize Borlaug Dialogue, United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon spoke at the first Nutrition for Growth Global Summit in London.
No child should suffer the injustice of malnutrition. Yet 1 in 4 will be stunted by chronic malnutrition unless we act. Overcoming stunting is a vital element of the Zero Hunger Challenge, my vision for a world where everyone enjoys their right to adequate food and good nutrition.
In the audience were the 2 individuals who were leading the international campaign to dramatically reduce early childhood stunting. Their efforts had, in fact, begun to intensify several years earlier in 2008 and 2009, as the global financial crisis and a steep spike in food prices swept across the developing world. And as riots erupted in over 30 cities, the rising human cost of hunger and malnutrition was brought into stark focus. The number of chronically hungry and malnourished people soared to 1 billion, a reversal of the steady decline of previous years. As prices rose, those in poverty now had to spend most of their income on staple grains, leaving little money for more nutritious vegetables, fruits, or dairy products. This in turn threatened tens of millions of children in developing nations who experienced the most acute effects like anemia and the insidious impact of physical and mental stunting. As the renowned author Roger Thoreau has so succinctly summarized, stunting is a life sentence of underachievement and underperformance. In the wake of this crisis, 2 nutrition champions, Dr. Lawrence Haddad and Dr. David Nabarro, rose to the challenge. From an early age, Lawrence Haddad faced his own experiences with hunger and undernutrition. Born in South Africa in 1959 to Lebanese immigrant parents, Haddad was not even 2 years old when his family emigrated to England, embarking on a journey that would dramatically shape the way he viewed the world. Although times were hard, his mother still found time to volunteer at a Save the Children charity shop, where Haddad joined her on weekends. It was in that shop that Haddad first learned of international relief efforts and the global mission of such organizations. He was inspired to make his own impact on the world. After earning a bachelor's degree in food science and economics from the University of Reading, Haddad boarded a plane for the first time in his life to fly to the United States to pursue a master's degree from the University of Massachusetts, followed by a PhD in food research from Stanford University. While completing his graduate degree, Haddad spent the summer of 1984 interning for the International Food Policy Research Institute, referred to by its acronym IFPRI. It was an experience that would alter the course of Haddad's life and set him on the path to become a nutrition specialist. At IFPRI, his division director was future World Food Prize laureate Dr. Per Pinstrup Andersen, who impressed Haddad with his dedication and focus on the importance of policy. Haddad also met Dr. Howarth Buis, another future World Food Prize laureate. Buis offered Haddad a job as his research assistant for a long-term project surveying intra-household resource allocation in the Philippines. Haddad was now on the path to gather the research data that would eventually thrust him to center stage during the global food security crisis in 2008. Born in London in 1949, David Nabarro volunteered at the age of 17 to run Youth Action York, a volunteer movement that endeavored to involve young people in improving the lives of the local poor, elderly, and disabled citizens. Nabarro cites this experience as beginning his lifelong interest in social work and setting the tone for the kind of medical professional he would become. He enrolled at the University of Oxford, receiving his medical degree in 1974. Later, he would also obtain a master's in public health in developing countries from the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine. After graduation, Nabarro was drawn to the front lines of public health in difficult and dangerous settings. In the 1970s, he became a member of a relief team with Save the Children in northern Iraq, providing health services and immunization to Kurdish children caught in fighting between the Kurds and the Iraqi army under Saddam Hussein. Save the Children recruited him again to spend 2 years in Nepal setting up a child health service. In 2003, back in war-torn Iraq, now with the United Nations, Nabarro narrowly escaped serious injury or death in the Canal Hotel bombing that targeted the United Nations mission, taking 22 lives and wounding over 100. Returning to the United Kingdom in 2004, Haddad assumed leadership of the Institute of Development Studies, or IDS, where he endeavored to help policymakers see nutrition as a central issue linked to economic growth and food security. In 2007, Haddad and IDS were invited to evaluate the Department for International Development, known as DFID, and the European Commission's programs to improve nutrition. Haddad's analysis found that neither organization had a clear nutrition strategy nor direct measurements of their success. His report described both organizations' views on nutrition as everybody's business and nobody's responsibility. In that one sentence, Haddad had identified the central structural policy deficiency in addressing global malnutrition. With Haddad's research now shaping their efforts, the United Kingdom government, and particularly DFID, substantially increased its spending on fighting undernutrition in South Asia and Sub-Saharan Africa. The new focus on nutrition that Haddad was promoting was clearly visible at the 2009 World Food Prize Borlaug Dialogue Symposium, when Bill Gates dramatically launched his global effort to uplift millions out of poverty and combat malnutrition, and business executive Indra Nooyi called for a nutrition revolution. These actions came alongside the 2008 food price crisis, which underscored a global lack of accountability and transparency regarding nutrition. It was here that Nabarro was thrust into the situation when UN Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon called upon him to lead the United Nations High-Level Task Force on Global Food Security. 2 years later, in 2010, Nabarro's role expanded as he assumed leadership of the new United Nations Scaling Up Nutrition movement. Known as the Sun Movement, the goal of the campaign was to bring together national governments to eradicate malnutrition by 2030. Nabarro was directly responsible for uniting countries under the Sun Movement to implement evidence-based nutrition policies and programs. Together with these actors, Nabarro propelled a concerted effort to reduce childhood undernutrition and stunting in the first 1,000 days of life. Nabarro was fulfilling the challenge Haddad had outlined by focusing the responsibility for improving nutrition and influencing policy worldwide. Through the Sun Movement, Haddad and Nabarro's work had converged. In the wake of the food price crisis, each man rallied a broad group of governments, NGOs, private sector partners, and development champions to prioritize nutrition. Haddad used economic and medical research to persuade development leaders that maternal and child nutrition should be an urgent priority, while Nabarro's role in leading efforts to counter malnutrition in the Sun Movement had allowed him to unify over 50 countries. More than any other individuals, Haddad and Nabarro's separate but complementary efforts resulted in significantly improved nutrition for mothers and children in the first 1,000 days of life, across a stunning array of countries. By the end of 2017, 59 countries and 3 Indian states had joined Sun. Many, like Bangladesh, Cambodia, El Salvador, Kenya, Myanmar, Nigeria, and Tanzania, reported a significant decline in the number of stunted children. Reflecting the name of the organization that had played a significant role in both of their lives, Haddad and Nabarro have truly saved the children. For their visionary leadership and relentless advocacy, which caused the number of stunted children in the world to be decreased by 10 million between 2012 and 2017, and for showing the world the pathway to even greater reductions and zero hunger, Lawrence Haddad and David Nabarro are truly deserving to be proclaimed as the 2018 World Food Prize laureates.